Funny how many, it's just sad, how many girls asked me where I got my sweatshirt. So I think it was a woman's sweatshirt. Obviously, don't expect people in their 60s and 70s to wear pajamas. I was just happy they were there that late. And the guy said, you got some old electrical stuff here. I said, I've been here 20 years, and you're the first person who ever had a ladder in here, so I don't even know what's above me. So,
Hello everyone, this is Justin Gray, sports editor for the Bell Ringer and communication major at Augusta University with another edition of the Dip Meter Show from Bell Ringer Phoenix Media. In this edition, we will discuss the Jaguars' dominant homestand and preview one of the toughest weeks of the year. Our panel includes Augusta University head men's basketball coach Dip Meters and chair of the communication department, Dr. David Bulla. So, how is everyone?
Cold, but not
ready for the snow.
I used to live in Iowa, so it's not that cold.
Yes, school is technically closed today, so you guys won't
we're
be cracked.
We're essential personnel.
Yeah, that's right.
Rain, sleet, nothing stops us to do this show.
And podcasting.
That's right. Big week for you guys last week. Stuffed the Stadium was last Wednesday. Huge success as the Jags kind of lit a fire under the Jags. They shot at about 60% clip and rolled over Flagler 102-71. How were the guys able to regroup after the Aiken loss and kind of flip the script and do it to Flagler?
We had a tough day on whatever day that was, Monday, and a very tough day. And we responded the right way. Flagler defensively is not as physical. We could say closed short. They just put a hand up on three-pointers. We still attacked off the bounce and threw the ball inside, but we made shots. The tone was set the first two plays of the game when Evan blocked the first two shots of the game, and then he made a three. So we adjusted the lineup a little bit. It was a good win, and it was nice to get everybody in the game and see the ball going for everybody.
And Evan Joyner sort of struggled against Aiken, like everybody else probably.
Every new player we had struggled against Aiken. And our returning guys weren't good either, but our new guys were bad. And, no, he played well. And like I said, he responded real well. You hope so. And like I said, it was good to get a win against Flagler. Like I said, we shot it very well. But the tone was set defensively. We jumped on them early. We were contesting shots. We were just really active. And then we put guys in and, guys who hadn't been starting, whatever, and they came in and they were 4 for 4 off the bench in the first half, so it was a great team win.
Yeah, I was up in Chicago and watching on my phone or keeping up with it on my phone, and the stream lagged at like 23-19. And then, or something around that score. And then it updates, and it was like 32-19. Then it updates again, it's like 44-20, whatever it was. And I was like, holy smokes. So a lot of big runs early in that game. Of course, Jaxon Garner with another 28-point game. He's now 11th in Division II in scoring. Talk little bit about him, like just getting at least 25 points a night from him.
It's really hard to do. Really hard to do when everybody's keying on him. He's a gym guy. He stays in the gym. He's a guy that knows his percentages, which is interesting because Miguel was the same way, Troy was the same way. If I ask Meach what his three-point percentage is in the last 3 games, he can tell you a stat, okay, which is dangerous sometimes for guys to put that much pressure on himself. So he's adjusting his workout stuff a little bit, what he's doing extra, and he's just a really good player. And as good as off, he's a really good defender, like really good defender. And he doesn't take possessions off, and we're really proud of his development. And, obviously he's our best player right now overall, and happy that he was put on the Bevo Francis list. That's a great honor, especially for a junior, especially to where he started his freshman year, red-shirted and played a little bit that first year, and really it's kind of taken the program on his shoulders.
Well, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who's Bevo Francis, or who was Bevo Francis?
Yeah, you got me there. I know Frank Selvey, so give me a little history lesson.
Well, and Frank Selvey played at Furman. He scored 100 points. Bevo played at Rio Grande.
Rio Grande, that's right.
And he scored 100 twice. Now, this kid at Grinnell, it's almost been 15 years ago now, Jack Taylor scored 138, so he broke their record. But he was one of the first great big men. I think he was 6'9", 6'10". Vern Lundquist who was on the 16th hole at the Masters all, 40-some years. Always talked about him anytime there was a game in the Southwest. So
they still have the Bevo Francis Classic that Rio Grande, I think, plays in, and their team does. Right. I don't know why I know that, but I remember seeing that one time.
But anyway, this means he's in the top 100, which we probably think maybe it's more like the top 25 at this point.
I didn't really look at the list. They do it basically on stats, but as a junior, I don't know how many juniors list on the Bevo Francis list. And the thing about Meach is he tries to get better. He's got a plan for the summer. Hey, I'm going to do this. I want to stay there this summer. I want to take these 2 classes. I want to get access to the gym. We challenged him last year about getting better with his left hand, driving the ball with both hands, finishing with his left hand. And now the next thing is getting his shot off of screens quicker. That's hard. That's hard. It's very hard, but he'll work at it, and he's willing to accept any challenge.
And he's a jump shooter. I mean, he bounces. Yeah,
he does. On his pull-up, he really elevates. On his catch and shoots is kind of a set shot. That's why when he comes off screens, he's not as effective. He drives that all the time. So, no, he'll get better. Like I said, just incrementally he's gotten better, and he's a really good defender, really good defender. And not to jump ahead, but Georgia Southwestern game, I think he blocked 3 shots almost right down the stretch. And, so he's really been important for us.
The other thing is the last person was Tyshawn, right, to be on the B.O. Francis list.
Tyshawn was on that, yes.
And that was, I believe, 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Yeah. It's nice to have those guys. It really is.
But that speaks well, I think, for what you've developed here in terms of the program.
Yeah, he's a good player, man. He's a quiet guy, just wants to play basketball. He's going to get his degree hopefully this summer and then work on his master's the next year. And, like I said, he's got a plan. And give him credit. He does. Like I said, he's a quiet kid. He doesn't advertise. He doesn't post that he's in the gym, but he's always in there.
Go ahead.
He's in kind of a weird player, as in the sense that he's quiet scorer.
Yes.
It's like you watch 25 minutes of the game, you look at the box score, and he's got 20, and you don't really remember how it happened.
Yeah, he gets 4 or 5 each 4-minute each media timeout. Yeah, like the last game, he took 24 shots. I didn't even know he took 24 shots. And I remember during one, I'm like, hey, why'd you hesitate? He doesn't usually hesitate. And no, he doesn't mind. He doesn't mind the heat of taking a shot. And some guys don't like that heat, but he doesn't mind the heat of taking that shot, no question.
And another stat line from that game before we move on from it, interesting to me, Max had 18 points and 10 rebounds, but other than that, he had 3 blocks and 3 steals. His presence down low, obviously, when he doesn't play well, the Jags don't play well. They're not. You guys are 9-0 when he has a double-double. How much better has he gotten on the defensive end rather than just being offensive?
Defensive, one of his. Okay, offensively, he's not turning the ball over as much. He's not playing bully ball. He's trying to be a skilled guy, which you look at him and you think, is he a skilled guy? He really is. As big and strong as he's a skilled post player. When he tries to play bully ball and throw his shoulder into people, he turns the ball over. He gets in wrestling matches. Even though he's strong, offensively, that's not his forte. I think in that game he banged in 2 threes, all in rhythm. And, so offensively, that's his biggest growth. Defensively, he's been better about choosing his spots on his fouls. Now, I say that the next game he got in foul trouble. But his presence blocking shots and ability to get a rebound. Some bigger guys don't rebound. He rebounds offensively really good and defensively. So maybe because his whole life nobody ever threw him the ball, until he got here. So he's got a knack for going to get rebounds, and he's been really good. And he's having a great year, an all-conference level year. And if Meach wasn't having such a great year, his numbers are phenomenal right now. If you look at strictly numbers, they're really, really good.
Let me ask a question about shooting percentage. Overall for the team, 5'10" is great, but these top 3 guys.
Yep.
So John St. Germain the third, 6'11", and that's unbelievable for point guard in the Curry era. And then Max is at .608, and Gardner, who's taking most of the shots, is a little over 500. That sounds like 80s ball, Coach.
Well, they're taking 60% of our shots, okay? And in the Aiken game, they took 80% of our shots. And I told the guys, it's because you guys are afraid to shoot. And we went in the Flagler game. Hey, don't be afraid to shoot the ball. Things get tough, and guys are like, oh, here you go, Meach. Here you go, John. Here you go, Max. So that was something I really noticed in the Aiken game. Like I said, they're 60% of our shots. That's what they do. That's what we're going to do, okay? The other guys aren't told not to shoot, but if you're afraid to shoot because things are tough, that's a problem. So, no, they've been good, and the other guys don't mind them taking shots either, which nowadays that's really important.
Oh, and Siobhan Torrance, who's a starter, usually shoot at 641. I mean, these are not the percentages you see in the Curry era where everybody's jacking up threes.
Yes.
But you guys don't shoot a lot of threes.
We don't shoot many of them. No, we don't. And that's just, that's when we made a bunch against Flagler. How many did we make? 11? 12
of 19.
Okay. Yeah, so we made 12, but technically what they do defensively let us take those threes.
Right.
And, statistically, I think I just saw this. We're 7th in the country in three-point percentage, or 269th in three-point attempts. Well, sometimes it's like, well, you should shoot more three-pointers. Well, our three main guys, they're not looking to shoot three-pointers. Okay, now Max will definitely shoot in the trail spot. Meach will shoot him if he's open. We did a drill yesterday in practice trying to prepare for Lander. Like, hey, everybody look to shoot it. And guys are still shot faking and driving it. That's just our personnel this year. So let's just win and try to do the effective field goal percentage the other way with getting high inside the point paint.
Yeah, and you also get to the line more.
Yes.
Yeah, and it helps in games like when you go on the road, and if the home team's missing a bunch of threes, you're able to extend that lead.
Yep.
And if they're
Make your
making
free
threes,
throws.
you can stay in the game.
Yes.
Something interesting in this one, John Tran, a freshman, only played 7 minutes. He had
did
three threes.
Yes, he sure did. Looked great coming off. He's working hard. Really all of them look good. Like, he was struggling with his confidence like all freshmen do, and every one of them looked like he was the shooter we thought he was going to be. So it takes some time with growth. He's struggled with conditioning a little bit when you're not playing as much. I'm not a guy that makes guys do things on their own. That's a new era stuff. I always feel like you got to be ready when the time comes. But no, John played well because Zaire did not play that game because of the flu and the F2 thing. So, no, I was happy to see him. Definitely happy to see the ball go in for him. That was his first buckets of the year, actually. And he had taken all good shots. So hopefully they'll motivate him to keep working.
And you wore an interesting sweatshirt for the Stuff the Stadium. You had your AUG with a teddy bear on it. Talk a little bit about your apparel for that one.
Okay, so I got apparel. This is apparel week, I guess. My daughter bought me and my wife ones from Swank, I think. What even for Christmas? I'm like, what is this? We got a shipment one day in probably early November, and she thought it would be cool to wear it. It's funny how many. It's just sad how many girls asked me where I got my sweatshirt. So I think it was a woman's sweatshirt. But no, just to support the cause of the Stuff the Stadium, unbelievable student turnout. I'm not sure what the infatuation is with throwing a teddy bear on the court or something, but there is an infatuation with it. And it's great that our student, Sharon and Roberto get behind this. And like I said, it's become an event. When I first did it 4 years ago, I was worried if anybody was going to bring any. And now we definitely have people bringing them. And I guess they count them for points for homecoming week, but it was a great turnout.
Did you get the timeout or the technical?
Call a timeout ahead of time. Cindy Cohen's refereeing, who refereed last year's. And I said, Cindy, we're going to call a timeout. And I said, I've told everybody to throw all the teddy bears at you for giving us a technical last year. So, but he was on the other end. I got to flip. I got to get the referees. If we score on that end, they don't get hit. So I was telling them we're going to throw it at them. So no, it was a fun night, no question.
Well, the other way you could do it is, I don't know if you can keep the crowd there the whole game, is a basket inside the last minute of the game. Yeah. But of course, if it's a close game, you don't want to risk a tackle.
Yeah, it's funny because Flagler coach told me they did their whatever Stuff the Stadium, whatever they call it, down there, and they had them throw them at halftime. Well, that's not as fun. Okay,
Yeah.
You want to throw them, and it's just kind of neat. Like I said, I got it from a hockey thing, and it really works. Like I said, it's a great infatuation with people throwing objects on the court. It was neat. They did an interview, and they interviewed actually Ryan Urlacher's daughter. She came to throw her teddy bear or stuffed animal on the stadium. So that was great.
You're listening to the Dip Meecher Show. So from one apparel to another, Coach, I don't know that I've ever seen anyone wear pajamas on the sideline. I didn't know you did until I was looking through pictures for my graphics, and you were in pajamas arguing with the referee.
Yes.
And so what went into that? You didn't want to be a hypocrite?
No, I didn't want to. So pajama night, we decided to do this because we were playing late at night. The cheerleaders were doing it. The dance team was doing it. Some students were doing it. So my big question was, should I do it? And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And then the second thing is, do I wear dress shoes so I can slam my feet, or do I wear slippers? So I kind of dressed in the office before I talked to our team. I said, well, I really can't talk to them. I look like an idiot, okay? So I had this hat that I was going to wear. And I looked at Garrett. Garrett says, no, don't wear that, okay? So I didn't wear the hat, okay? It was like one of those old ones. But, when you have things, actually we had the students we had that came all wore pajamas. It was kind of cool. You look up there and you're like, wow, they are wearing pajamas. Now, obviously, don't expect people in their 60s and 70s to wear pajamas. I'm just happy they were there that late. No, it's kind of a cool thing. And like I said, if you're going to remember many years ago, Patino was at Louisville. They had a white out, and he wore a white suit. Okay, and I've done that before. We switched at halftime. Okay, my wife's like, "You better be ready to switch at halftime." So, no, if you're going to do something, you might as well do it. What the heck? The guy, I got plenty of texts the next day. You're like, "What were you thinking?" So, it was fun.
Should get the refs to do it next year.
Yes. Actually, our team doctors had their little. It was kind of cool. Like I said, it was. My question is, can I just do it at 7:30 rather than 9 o'clock? Because it was a late start. I don't think we started by about 9:20 because of the girls' game. So crazy night.
So on to the game. Georgia Southwestern come in struggling. They haven't won a conference game. You guys took them down 77-69. So what did they present? What kind of challenges? I read in the article that they were very physical.
Very physical. I'd call timeout. This is the same thing Aiken did to us. Okay. Now, the problem was at the end of the first half, 4 stars had 2 fouls. And I'm not a big guy playing 2 fouls, guys with 2 fouls, especially Max and John because how important they are. And we had already determined that Evan was going to kind of be part of this thing at the end and Elias. So we responded better. It was just a very, very physical game. Hard game to coach in, hard game to play in. So, but the good thing is we were able to come out with a win. They came back and cut it, and then we were able to execute down the stretch. And it was the first time that we had played without Max for an extended period of time. I don't know how many minutes Max played. And Elias the next day in practice said, he goes, "Hey man, that's the first time we've played without Max. He's kind of important for us." I said, "Yeah, he is." Okay, so his ability to rebound, block shots, make a bucket late. So like I said, we had a game plan, and we probably should have played a little more zone early to keep Max out of foul trouble because how they play. But like I said, it was a good team win, and playing at 9 o'clock at night was kind of something different.
And obviously, Meach led you guys again with 27, but more importantly, he had 40. He played all 40.
Yep, played 40 minutes.
With Max being in foul trouble, how big is it to depend on? Because last year you had 5 guys that averaged 35 minutes.
Yep.
How big is it to have one guy that you can just depend on to be in the game the entire time?
I don't really like playing Meach 40, okay? I think you have to have a mental break during the game. But there was so much stoppage of play because of the free throw attempts. It wasn't like he was get tired, okay? There was, I don't remember, 2 or 3 minutes without, a stop of play. So, but the main thing is Shea came in and had a couple buckets, I think. Made 2 for 2 from the free throw line. We put Ollie in. He wrestled around in there with their good player. So we got some production from guys to get a good team win.
Yeah, 60 free throws shot combined by both teams. Coaching in a game like that, is that really frustrating?
It's awful. It's awful. I get it. It is awful. It was very inconsistent. Even Coombs wow, what do we got going on here? And Coombs is an ex-post player, So, the stat that Dr. Bulla pointed out to me was amazing was the how low the assist total was for the game. That's unheard of. When you I knew it a little bit because I remember John had 6 assists at halftime against Flagler because I remember looking at the stat sheet. We had 4 for the game, or is that right? Or
I think it was 7 for you and 4 for them.
Yeah, that's right.
And he had none.
Yeah, none. Well, and partly, like I said, we had a couple penetrating pitches we missed.
Right.
And I don't know the rule. Can you get an assist on a foul? If you get the bucket, you still can't get it? Okay.
No, if it's an
if
M1.
they make it.
But if you miss it.
But if you miss it, no assist.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I played in college, I knew the girl did the stats. I made sure I got my assist. So.
Well, the coach sometimes can have some influence on the scorekeeper. Let me point out another thing. They were 21 or 33, so they missed 12 from the line.
Yes.
You shot 82% from the line. Yep. That really was the difference in the game.
Yeah, their big kid missed a bunch who was getting fouled a lot.
And he's tough inside.
Oh, he's good. He's good. He's a handful. Yes, he is. He's a handful. And Lars, the other good player, picked up a couple fouls, guarding Meach. So, no, it was a good win. We're not looking forward to going down. For an 0-6 team, they're not that far off, so they're going to get somebody. Just don't want to be us.
Yeah, it's Josiah Shackelford's the big guy, right?
Yes.
And unlike the USC Aiken Center, he can score.
Oh, yeah.
He's physical and can score.
Good. Yeah, he's good.
He's one of the better players in conference.
And he could, when they're in there wrestling, him and Max and Ollie and Lou and all those guys, he could definitely hold his own, no question.
Right, yeah. they're winless, but they're the best winless team in the conference.
Or Georgia
for sure.
College is. Georgia College.
Yeah, Georgia College is playing well, too.
Georgia College is definitely. I just watched their Lander game. They had a shot at the buzzer to win the game. So
they're really well coached.
Yes.
Before we move on to this week's game, we'll talk a little bit about the standing. Coach, you guys are in tied for first place with Columbus State and USC Beaufort. The season ended today, you would get the nod because you beat both of them.
I wish it could it end today. Can we put a proposal?
At home, though.
That's right.
Go down there.
But still have to go to both of them. USC Beaufort kind of out of nowhere. Obviously, their style bothers a lot of people, but they're 5-1 in the conference. The only loss being here at Augusta. And then USC, Aiken, North Georgia, and Lander, all 4-2. Flagler 3-3, and then Clayton State, Southwestern, and Georgia College all 0-6.
I've never seen it where we've had 3 teams 0-6 and 3 teams 5-1. I've never seen that. I've been in our league a long time. That's a weird shakedown. Now, within 3 games, everybody else played each other. Okay, so obviously teams' records are going to be a little different. But I've never seen it done like that, ever, which is really odd. So.
And last week, what was it, a 6-way tie for first place before it shook out over the weekend?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's going to be it's going to be an interesting year, no question.
And then these next 2 weeks are really the meat of the schedule. Lander and North Georgia away, then Georgia College at home on the following Wednesday, and then at Columbus State, which I think may be. It depends on how these next 3 go, but that could be the game of the year right there.
So Gary Edwards, who was the head coach at Francis Marion, was a good friend of mine. He used to be at IUP, and Gary used to coach at Baptist College when I was an assistant. He used to call them big boy games. This is a big boy game. This is a big boy game. You got to go up there and get rebounds, and it's a big boy game. So this is a big boy week for us. Okay, we got Lander and North Georgia both on the road, and we take it one game at a time. But you have 2 road games, so obviously our focus is going to be beating on Lander. We don't prepare for anybody past them because they play so differently. But no, this is a big boy week, no question.
And you mentioned before he came on the air that the game with Lander has been moved back one day.
Yeah, it's been moved back to Thursday, and that North Georgia will play Thursday down at Georgia Southwestern, so it's no advantage of playing. Right. I think sometimes we get over analytical with these guys. They're 20 years old. They're fine.
Right. Of course, Georgia Southwestern may get more snow than we do.
Yeah, they're apparently
moving theirs to Thursday against North Georgia.
Yes, and then Georgia College and Clayton have moved theirs to Monday, partly because Georgia College has a philosophy they're not allowed to practice in snow days. I think they're going to hit from what everybody says, Clayton. So, hey, just Lander's the next one, and we better be able to guard that 3-point shot against them.
Well, let's go back to one other thing. You mentioned that Zaire Edwards had the flu, and it looks like he's gotten over it. But it looked like half the women's team had it Saturday. Are you concerned about that, and have they gotten vaccinated yet?
Absolutely. So we were trying to get flu shots last Friday, and then we backed them up to this coming Friday. We just couldn't work it out with Shelley coming up. Yeah, you always first of all you got to get your rest. All right? College kids don't rest. We know that, and you got to eat. All right, so we got numerous guys that try not to eat till after lunch, and you can't do that stuff. So the main thing is to get rest and take care of your bodies. Yeah. And it's part of being a college athlete. Now, nowadays a flu knocks people out. Like it knocks Zaire. I saw him like, whoa, going home. Like, get out of here. Okay. Other guys are getting the headaches and the chills, and sometimes that's 24 hours. It's tough. I feel for them. I really do. But I think Georgia College went down to Beaufort without 3 of their top 8 guys. They were sick with the flu. I mean, it's part of this. And poor Celeste, she had 6 dressed or 7, I think.
7, I think.
7 addressed, and Monet was just cleared. Okay. Right. So she had been out. And
Autumn Phillips didn't play.
No, Autumn didn't play. 2 inside girls didn't play. So actually, she was unbelievable. She had 24 points. I think she had 27 for the year. The women's coach at Georgia Southwestern worked with me at Belmont Abbey, Missy Tiber. So she was the women's coach when I was at Belmont Abbey. So I've known Missy for a long time. And she said the same thing. Who is this girl getting all these points against her? She had girls with the flu when they played at Aiken. Now they played with a temperature. Yeah. So we didn't get all those arguments. I'm just trying to get enough healthy guys to practice tomorrow. I
mean, it's like injuries. It happens. You got to live with it.
Yes.
And you got 14 things out there: COVID, several strands of the flu, the norovirus, strep throat. Anything can hit this time of year.
Yeah, you have to. Okay, so I'm way back when I first got the head coaching job at Belmont Abbey. It was a disaster, and we had guys injured all the time.
Right.
I'm like, what's going on? Well, okay, so I'm up there, my first month on the job. And I'm like, okay, you guys are going to get injured if you're out at 4 a.m. jumping up and down to music at a fraternity house. Okay, like you can't do stupid stuff like that. You're an athlete. So sometimes we do stupid things kids do, and you can't do that stuff, man. You only got 28 games to play. So hopefully our guys are mature about it.
Yeah, and looking forward to Lander. Obviously Thursday night now. They're 10-6. They're 4-2. Not as good of a record as last year. But in those 6 losses, only one is by more than 3 points.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. Yeah, I know their games have been close. Yeah, it's a good point.
UNC Pembroke's their only loss larger than that. That was by 19. I believe it was on the road. They obviously had the collapse against Catawba that went viral on social media at the start of the year. Yeah. So this is a ruckus environment. Their fans are loud. Last year you were playing your best ball, had already beaten them, went into there, led most of the game, and wound up coming out with the loss. Yep. How do you prepare your guys, especially with all the distractions that are going on right now?
I just talked to Omar. They're still in school, even though they're not that far from us, and they'll maybe gain a practice. It doesn't matter. We got to go up there and understand that they are going to shoot a lot of 3-pointers. Okay, just as many as Flagler, and they're a good percentage team offensively too. So they got some good players. We're gonna have to play well. And I really, 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 really challenged our guys yesterday in practice. The day of Martin Luther King Day. To our 4 freshmen, Evan, I say, hey, man, you haven't proved me anything yet. You haven't proved that we can win a game in a row with you guys in a tough environment. And they had no idea what was coming in practice. And our older guys really went at them just to toughen them up a little bit. And guys responded well because you have to do that. It doesn't matter how you guard a flare screen or how you guard a stagger screen if you're not competing. And hopefully we'll compete Thursday and Saturday because those are both games you better compete every play.
Yeah, and when you go into a game where the other team is so good offensively, do you start looking at like a lineup change, maybe Zaire getting in their face a little bit more? A little bit.
I'm glad he's back. Put it that way. We always have issues against them of who are post guard because they're post shoot 3-pointers. Now, they have a Legiste, so Max, he can kind of play around the basket against him because that's always a concern against teams to shoot 3-pointers, how our bigs guard him. So, no, I think we'll be okay there because Evan provides his versatility. Lewis has proven he can go out and guard on the floor. Zaire can put him on the ball. And that'll be a big challenge. They run a lot of different plays. But like I said, we got to compete, no question.
Well, the other thing with 3-point shooting teams is that rebound because it's always long and weird and boxing out doesn't always work.
Yes.
There's got to be some luck in that sometimes.
Yeah, like we can literally say they take, I think, close to 33 pointers a game. We probably won't take 30 this week, okay? There's a good chance we won't take 30 this week. We lost to Aiken. We took 7, okay? So it's just, it's part of you can't change everything for an opponent.
Yeah, and the other thing is on the 3, if you're closing out and you go by them, then they got a better chance of getting the rebound than the guy who's gone out of bounds on our team.
Yes, so a lot of things can happen when teams make threes. You have to put a hand up and you have to contest them. There's certain guys you have to run off lines. You have to guard things certain ways. And we'll probably be consistent and guard all the same way just because you can't adjust that much between 9 guys they play or 10 guys they play.
Do you throw any zone at them or any press
probably,
at them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mix it up a little bit?
We zoned for almost the whole second half against Georgia Southwestern. We'll zone them some. I'm sure we will. We haven't, like I said, we played a lot of it, so Omar will be ready for it. We'll definitely jump in a little pressure against them. What you don't want to do is do anything that causes them to get wide open threes off of your mistakes.
Right.
And we've definitely evaluated that, and hopefully they're going to have to guard us too. Max has been pretty effective. Meach is going to drive the ball, so there's going to be some great matchups, and it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, my guess is it's going to come down to turnovers and free throws.
Free throws, yep.
Yeah, because you really, except for one game in the last 10, you shot it really well from the line.
Shot it well from the free throw line, taking care of it for the most part. Okay, where our numbers are definitely down from the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I remember last year when we were there, they got a lot of calls towards the end of the game.
Yes, they did.
So that'll be an interesting, thing to watch. And of course, North Georgia is on Saturday. That's a place where they get every call. Yeah. It feels like the Convocation Center up there. They are 12-6 as well. They were preseason top 5 team. A little bit of a shaky start compared to what they probably envisioned. How tough are they? Are they like they were last year?
No, they're physical. Yeah, they're going to be very physical. They're going to play 2 bigger guys around the basket and stuff like that. They're a good team. They're a good team. They obviously went to Disney, played some stuff. They played UVA Wise and lost. It was a pretty good year. They got a tough one down at Georgia Southwestern on Thursday. The games are so close. Like I said, I think teams are so much more even than it's been in the past. Like I said, go back to Georgia College. They're 0-6 and literally could have won 5 of those games. Just like Lander, those close games, they could easily be 6-0 right now.
Yeah, North Georgia and Columbus State. I actually watched some of that last week. Columbus State beat them, I believe, by 3 in the end, but North Georgia, very physical down low and was able to handle. They didn't lead any of that game. Columbus State went to North Georgia and handled it. So that's something to watch for. And that's all I got about
Columbus
North Georgia.
beat Aiken beat them bad.
By 20 last weekend,
it was a 20-point game the whole time. So I always say, win your home games. Okay, Columbus has got 1 loss at our place. Buford's got 1 loss at our place. We've got 1 loss at Aiken. So keep winning those home games and try to figure out how to get 5 out of the 9 on the road. And if you're 14-4, you're probably winning this league. I think maybe 13-5 this year, but 14-4, I would be surprised if it doesn't win our league.
I wanted to mention something about one of the teams you play in your exhibition schedule, and that's Jason Zimmerman over at Emory in Atlanta. He won his 300th last week at NYU. NYU was ranked 4th at the time, so Emory's now 13-1. They're ranked 2nd in Division III,
number
which
one
is great.
For a second. Yep.
Yeah, and you lost to them in a really close game in November over here, 81-76. That loss doesn't look so bad now, and it wasn't bad then.
Yeah.
But Jason's just done a tremendous job. Now, you've almost won twice as many as he's won. But
I'm twice as old, though. I think.
That's right.
Yeah.
We want to mention that. But what does 300 mean for him?
Well, first off, Jason, let's go really back. He played in the Davidson team that played in the second game in this arena because I was assistant coach. We opened up with South Carolina. Jason was a guard for Coach McKillop on that Davidson team that played in here. So
it's about 10 years before Curry.
Yeah. So ironically, I remember as a player, and then when he got into coaching, he ended up working at Evansville for Steve Murfeld, who I kind of followed. I was at Hampton, and Steve followed me as assistant. So I got to know Jason, and we got the Emory job. We see each other, we talk, and then we've just agreed to scrimmage or exhibition every year now because, first off, then we don't have to look for it. We know we're going to play each other, and he understood the playing after a volleyball game because his daughter plays volleyball at Florida Southern. Now he's a great coach, a great person. I stopped in to see him practice before. When this time of year we're not as much communicating, but no, he's a great guy. He's come to my coaching clinics before, and just happy for his success. People in coaching, it's really hard to coach 300 games. Heck with winning 300 games. Right. And Jason's been happy there. He's been involved with a couple jobs. We've talked about it. He loves being a head coach. And we recruited a kid a couple years ago that chose the University of Chicago over us, and Emory couldn't get him in school. And I remember Jason telling me, he said, I had to go tell the kid personally that Emory couldn't get him in. And he went to an opponent, University of Chicago. And now I recruited the kid very hard. And he's a good player at that place. And it came down to Chicago, and we couldn't get him to visit, to be honest with you. Because, those type of they're strictly looking for the academic angle. Right. And no, he's got a great program, great coach, and unbelievable demeanor, and just wonderful. He had a bad year last year, and he called it PTSD. When he beat us, he's like, man, this will really help us. We lost this game like 10 times last year, this type of game. So I'm glad it spirited success for him. Hopefully he can win national championship there.
He very well could.
Yes.
And speaking of records, Coach, you're only 3 wins away from 450 here at Augusta and 19 away from 600 overall.
Oh, boy. I really am getting old. Yes.
So speak a little bit about how much that means just to see those totals get up. And, I mean, that's in the upper echelon
I didn't know that
of coaches.
450. Wow. First off, somebody had to hire me, okay? So therefore, somebody hired me at Belmont Abbey, Dr. Reedy, and then Clint was able to hire me here. So you have to get the opportunity to do this. And then the longevity is the hard part of this. And you can't do it without good players, good assistant coaches, and good people around you. And, it's been, this is year 20, I think, whatever, year 30 as a head coach or whatever year it is. The game has changed a lot, okay? A lot, all right? But there's still certain things I really, really think that kids really want discipline if you recruit the right type of guys, okay? And we're very fortunate to get good players, and hopefully we can keep this thing rolling. And very fortunate to have a wife that's very supportive. My daughter's made the dumb move to get in coaching too at Mercer. I don't know why she's doing this, but she has a passion for it as well. So it's great to have this and all. I remember when this thing started out, whatever years, I always say it. We played Winston-Salem State on December 18th, and there was 27 people at the stands. And I'm like, wow, we have 27 people at this game. Why did I take this job?
Yeah.
You know, we had no photographer, we had any cheerleaders, we had, nothing. And now, pep band, now we've got, we got more videographers than we do, fans than we did 20 years ago. So, no, it's changed a lot. And, like I said, I'm not for everybody. I know that. I remember one time I was involved with a job, and Clint said, "You'll never make it there. Like you don't need to leave to go somewhere like that." So, like I said, been a very supportive administration, and just hope we keep getting good players, and have watched this university transform tremendously in my 20 years.
Also, a series of really good assistant coaches.
Yes.
Zach Tinkham now, but of course Lenny Carson.
Yeah, Lenny Carlson, Zach, Jay. Oh, yeah, there's a bunch. Drew, Jamie.
Quarles,
yes. I mean, Jay Newberry's a high school coach. Yes. So you can't. Those guys don't get paid a lot. I've got 2 volunteers right now, Garrett and Paul. And it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not as glamorous as you think. So, no, very fortunate to have those guys. And
also, I think the big thing, besides your wife, having Clint Bryant be the AD all those years, and you've got to have an AD who understands basketball. Yes. Of course, he does.
Yes, there's no question. And Ryan's came in and hasn't missed a beat. So therefore, obviously the changes we got going on. We got the box. Dr. Keen, an outdoor.
Looks like a recruiting box.
Yeah. I'm not. I jokingly said that's where Jerry Jones is going to name his new football coach. It's we're redoing the outside. Matter of fact, today when I was in my office before I came over, they were doing electrical work in the office. And the guy said, you got some old electrical stuff here. I said, I've been here 20 years, and you're the first person who ever had a ladder in here, so I don't even know what's above me. So, no, it's great. It's great.
Let me also say this. Scott Harris, who's replaced Art Berger doing the TV.
Great job.
I watched from start to finish the last game because we were at home with illness. Man, is it a great production. Of course, they won an Emmy last year. Yes. I think if they enter again, they'll win another Emmy.
The best in the league, no question. Professional, what Charles and Lenny, it's unbelievable. Yeah. I remember when Chad Cook was doing it for us,
for free.
And I couldn't remember the whole YouTube thing and the wiring of the gym. The thing I had no idea what was going on. Yeah, it's unbelievable what we transfer. And people look at our production for games and try to figure out. Even us with turning lights out, coming out of the Jaguar head, and fire. People get jealous of that stuff, So it's cool.
And Charles McNeil is a real professional sports broadcaster, and he's also an advertising guy. Yep. But he is absolutely class, high standards, never mispronounces a name. We usually have to listen to him a few times to be sure, or Jason, your PA guy. Another guy who really is important because he is the in the gym voice of the Jaguars. Yes. He also is a COM alum, so we'll throw that out there. But up and down.
He loves what he does.
He does love it. He does love it, and he does it great.
Yes. He's in the process of trying to buy that radio station, he told me, Fox.
The 94.7?
I think so, yes. That's what he was telling me the other day.
Well, we got to talk to him.
Yeah, you got to talk to him. Yeah, something he told me. He's like, we have 7 gospel radio stations in Augusta. And he said, I'm trying to buy this thing. Yeah. So,
and of course, Charles is their main guy now selling ads. Yeah. And he did prep football, as Justin Gray over here well knows. Was just something that Chad Cook and I have talked about for several years now, is we need to have better sports presence in the media here. I'm not trying to criticize the TV stations because they're a little different format, but it's between AU and prep sports, it's a great place to learn how to do this.
It is, and I think the camera work is probably one of the coolest things about it, because you watch when we're on the road far away and I'm not able to travel, they just have it up in the corner. Yeah. You can't, like at Barton,
perspective.
Dimitri Gardner took the last shot to try to win the game, and you couldn't see it. It was on the other end of the floor. But
we got them every place.
Yes, and they change. They're able to show film, all kinds of cool stuff. Well, you think about
when we do the TV games for the education games, they don't. The TV station ain't coming over here. They're using our cameras. I mean, they're not. I remember way back when the TV did our games, and they had to come in with all these. We have all that stuff now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Berger was responsible for most of that. Yes. The other thing is replay. I mean, he brought that in too. That is, I mean, when I've done it, I'm like, I'm not ready to. I hadn't analyzed it that quickly. Yep. But clearly Lenny's doing a great job.
And did want to mention the Education Day men's basketball games received a National Runner-Up NCAA Award of Excellence. So a great thing that you guys do every year, and bring in 2,000
Yep.
fifth graders from Richmond County and Columbia County, separate games, has been recognized, and it's certainly awesome to see that getting the national recognition.
Yeah, I kind of knew we were runner-up because they did an interview with me and John that they ran at the NCAA convention. So while the NCAA convention going on, I get an email because Mark Peeler's old too, the basketball coach in Erskine, AD. He's like, hey, I just saw your picture. You know, he's at the convention. He sends me an email. I guess he has his laptop out. And no, it's great. It's great that we did that. Same thing. We can't do that without all the other stuff we're doing for games because, you know, the video looks great. They sent for the NCAA. They interviewed me and John via Zoom. You know, we had kind of known we had finished second. But no, it's a great thing. And hopefully we keep continuing to do that in the future.
Well, I think also your outreach beyond that. I mean, you go around, you used to go to the mall, you go to schools.
Yeah.
I think that's a very important part
we
of
try
that
to do.
too.
You try to build a fan base. You know, you try to get people involved. You never know who gets involved. You know, 10, 12 years ago, we had a ball. I gave Grandpa a ticket. You know, his daughter worked on campus, and he's come to every game since. Travels was on the bus. So, you never know who can get people involved. And like I said, very fortunate to have people support us.
I do want to mention one more thing. It has nothing to do with hoops, but it has a lot to do with Augusta University. Of course, back then it was Augusta State, but Patrick Reed, who helped lead the men's golf team to back-to-back Division I national championships in 2010 and 2011. He started his season off last week in Dubai at the Desert Classic. He finished 10th, not bad, good money. I know he makes a little money more than that on LIV on 54, but still not a bad going. And one of his LIV partners, Terrell Hatton of England, won, and Rory McIlroy, who almost always wins in Dubai, finished fourth. So wonderful start to the season over there in the desert. But congratulations to Patrick, and he'll be here in a few months. It's not that far away. The clock is ticking.
Yep. Do you guys watch the TGL, the new Inside League? It's kind of different.
Yeah.
It's kind of it gives you something to watch on Tuesday night. I like it for that reason. But Tiger played in it last week. They got smoked. Whatever. It's team format. Anyway, pretty cool little deal. But thank everyone for listening today.
One more quick thing. Jaxon Garner's not here today. He's normally our engineer. He is, I'm not going to say hungover, but he's celebrating because he's an Ohio State fan. And, of course, the Buckeyes won in Atlanta. Did he go to the game?
He did not.
He's in Atlanta. He should have gone.
The lowest tickets prices were $5,000.
Oh, God.
I would have taken out a loan. I would have taken out a loan for that.
If Clemson was in it.
Yes, if Clemson was in it.
I asked the South Carolina fan the same question. I said, how much would you pay for a go to national? He said, only $500. He drew the line.
Well, you're not going to any national championship now.
I
would draw a line about $3,500. That's as much as
I think if you got to the stadium about an hour ahead of time and we're patient, it would probably get down to $500.
That's probably what I would
cash.
do. That's probably what I would do. But with it being Notre Dame and Ohio State, that's why the price jumped up. Had it been Clemson and Arizona State, wouldn't it?
And they did
that kind of price.
And not that I'm a gambling guy, because I'm not, but they did cover, right? It was 8.5, and they won.
They didn't cover the initial line, which was 9.5.
Okay.
Wait, no, they wound up covering
11,
the final
right?
field goal. Yeah, so they did cover.
The field goal, and the field goals were critical because they got one. They got two, and Notre Dame missed one?
They did miss one at the end.
So if they hadn't missed that, and if Ohio State misses one, it might have been a different game.
Yeah, my score prediction was 34-20, so I was
pretty
close. Pretty close. But we'll be back next week with another episode. The Dip Meter Show is a production of Bellringer Phoenix Media. Jasmine Garcia is the TVC Lab coordinator and the producer today. Jaxon Garner is the video editor/producer. Dr. David Bulla is the coordinating producer. We are coming to you from the TVC Lab in University Hall on the Summerville campus of Augusta University. You can find us at aubellringer.com, on Spotify, and on social media. Please send your comments to bellringerproduction@gmail.com. Have a great day and listen again soon. This is Justin Gray saying so long. Back at you next week. We're out.